Okay, so because this has flown under the radar for the past week or so, let me just say that this is in no way confirmation or clarification more than it is speculation. Now you can take that for what you will, but during an interview with Boxing News Plus, it was Virgil Ortiz Jr. who basically leaked this information by stating that not only will he and Terence Crawford not be facing each other anytime in the near future, but according to Virgil, he spoke to Crawford personally about a potential fight at 154, stating that Crawford told him that he, Crawford, will not be moving back down to 154 after this upcoming fight with Canelo Alvarez. Virgil says Crawford looks to have one more fight after his mega bout with Canelo before finally hanging it up for good. He's gonna fight his last 2 fights and then retire, is what Ortiz said. He then followed that up by giving Crawford his flowers and letting it be known that he doesn't blame Crawford for getting his money and riding off into the sunset. Now, it should come as no surprise that Bug will be on his way out the door soon. I mean, after much speculation from fight fans and experts, it's safe to say that we all saw this coming from a mile away, dog. At the age of 37, it's pretty much the right move for a fighter as accomplished as Terence Crawford. But here's what stood out and what I found interesting about what Virgil said. It's the part where he says he's gonna fight his last 2 fights, then retire. You see, that makes you wonder what Crawford really meant by 2 last fights and if maybe Virgil might have misspoke. Because in that same interview, Ortiz claims that he asked Bud if he would be defending his belts at 168 in the event that Crawford is victorious over Canelo in September. To which Crawford replied, no, and then proceeded to tell him his plans, leaving many to ask the question, if Crawford only has 2 fights left, including this September bout with Canelo, who will be his last and final fight? If he claims he won't be moving back down to 154, and in the same breath claims he won't be defending undisputed at 168, where does that leave Crawford other than a rematch with Canelo Alvarez? Because it's clear from Ortiz's delivery, this conversation between him and Crawford happened from the point of view that Crawford defeats Canelo. Of course, because there's no specifics of what the contract for Canelo and Crawford looks like outside of the 2 fighters, their teams, and the promoters, this could be a situation where Crawford's already aware of a rematch clause or assumes that Canelo will more than likely want to run it back if he loses to Bud. I mean, we still have 4 months until the fight date, so I'm sure more details will be leaked to the public from here until then. But if everything Virgil Ortiz said in that interview is accurate, it's safe to say one of 2 things. Either 1, Crawford really just doesn't want any smoke with Virgil Ortiz, or 2, Terence Crawford is a lot more confident that he's gonna beat Canelo than most anticipated him to be. Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a cash out. I know some would like to believe that it's a circus, but I mean, unless Crawford is planning on losing to Canelo, only to face Conor McGregor next, it doesn't look like Bud is here to lose, man. And you know what? That not only makes the build-up that much more intriguing, but it also might make the fight that much more appealing, because if the fight mirrors or plays out anything like the first face-off, then I'm sure everyone has something to be excited for. Hey man, we all heard what Canelo told Bud. Well, here we go. And that could have been subtle for, you asked for this, you wanted this, and you got it. The way Canelo approached that was almost reminiscent to the first time we saw Mayweather and Pacquiao face off. It was almost like a now you're standing in front of the real deal. And anyone trying to say Canelo looked nervous is crazy. He might have looked a bit agitated, but neither of them were nervous. Trust me on that. Canelo was only doing what he was supposed to do by reading his opponent and checking the temperature to see if Bud is legit. And Crawford, as expected, stood his ground and checkmated him with a locked in, cool, calm, and collective stare. Like, I'm ready and I'm coming, so you better not be sleeping on me. Yeah, I know everyone's all caught up on the size, and to that I say, if you didn't know that Crawford was taller than Canelo and aren't aware of how much more wider than Crawford Canelo really is, I don't know what to tell you, bro. What I really took away from it is what I saw in both fighters' eyes. So as the countdown begins, we're locked loaded with 4 months to find out. And I guess then, and only then, will we find out if a rematch is necessary. Pop off.